everyone pays a price.
Real people with real phobias and real troubling memories. You think you're smarter than a chimp? How about a bird? I mean, sure, primates can't do long division and pigeons are lousy at Sudoku, but scientists are finding that animals are way more intelligent than we ever thought. Last week, at the annual meeting of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, some of the world's leading animal researchers announced findings that may radically change the way we look at our furry and feathered friends. They claim monkeys can give college students a run for their money in math, pigeons can pick the picture that doesn't belong, and, this is really cool, crows can use tools. Yep, we used to think that tool making was the one great attribute that separated humans from all other animals. Pfft, yeah. Check out this little fella as he tries to use a piece of wire to snag a snack. It doesn't work, so he bends it into a hook. The clever little cookie. Crows also apparently have an amazing knack for planning ahead. They stash food for the next day in ways that prevent it from being stolen. So if you're the type of roommate who steals slices of leftover pizza from the fridge, don't move in with a crow. He will be way ahead of you. As for chimpanzees, you're not going to get much past them either. They share about 95% of their DNA with humans, so it's not surprising they're reasonably sharp. But a revealing study by English and Dutch researchers showed that 9-month-old baby chimps recognise objects better than human babies do. So what do chimps have that we don't have? And how can we somehow tap into it? Well, we found out in this Brink breakthrough. It may look like fun and games, but there's some serious science happening here at the Kyoto Primate Research Centre.
The aim of this experiment is to compare the memory capability between humans and chimpanzees.
Dr. Tetsuro Matsuzawa turned chimps into computer whizzes, all with the aid of an apple dispenser. Ayumu, the chimp, was given just a fraction of a second to see a random sequence of 5 numbers. In a fifth of a second, Ayumu's brain captured the numbers in memory, and the chimp was able to hit the numbers in sequence from smallest to largest 80% of the time. 80%! Meanwhile, in a lackluster performance, the human brain got at least half wrong every single time.
Now I'm very much convincing that chimpanzees could be better than humans.
Chimps have something many of us wish we had, a photographic memory. Their brains work like a digital camera, storing countless images in their memory banks. Some researchers believe we once had a photographic memory too. But our ancestors, like this handsome couple right here at the American Museum of Natural History, lost that ability. Why? Because their brains had to make room for something else even more important, and that was language. Question is, could it be possible for humans to get our ability to have a photographic memory back? To find out, Jakob Yule of Exeter has an odd idea he wants to test on student volunteers. Yule says a powerful magnetic force can temporarily block the part of the brain where conscious vision is processed, unlocking a more primitive way of visual processing called unconscious vision. Without realising we've seen a thing, we can pick up danger signals, changes in light, motion, even emotional cues from humans.
Imagine you're walking in a jungle and there's a tiger coming at you. Well, if you have to rely on conscious vision, it takes up to maybe 200 milliseconds before you see the tiger. Well, by that time you're probably already, well, if not eaten, certainly bitten. Subconscious vision is a lot faster. You can be running away within about 50 milliseconds from the tiger.
Brave Hannah puts herself in the hands of science.
I'm now going to position this magnet to the back of your head. Okay?
That was fine.
Brilliant. Now we're ready to start the experiment.
4 faces flashed on the screen at the same time. 3 were neutral faces, but the 4th was either happy or sad. Hannah was then asked to identify whether one of the faces was happy or sad. As the magnet shorted out her sight, Hannah pressed on.
It's just like someone's flicking the back of your head, really.
When the test was over, Hannah felt fine, but something surprising happened as she was being zapped. She was able to recall the correct emotion of the little faces, even though she could barely see them.
It's very fast, you can't really tell consciously what the emotion was, but you're normally left with some sort of sense of whether it was happy or sad.
When the participants were able to see the stimulus, they were correct about 70–75% of the time. But when we used the magnet, they couldn't see the stimulus anymore, but still they were able to give the correct answer 70–75% of the time. So even though they couldn't see it, they were, well, just as good as when they could see the emotion.
Unconscious vision holds remarkable promise for the untapped resources of the human mind. Resources our primitive ancestors may have had millennia ago, but lost as we evolved into the jabbering, emailing, blackberrying, hypersocial creatures we are today. Skeptics of Tetsuro Matsuzawa's chimp research have said his prized chimp Ayumu was just trained to play the memory game. But Matsuzawa says, well, even when his university students were trained to play the game, they were still blown away by the chimps. And Jakob Uele says his latest experiments found that the same transcranial magnetic stimulation that you just saw can also make people believe they've seen things happening in the future. At least I know I don't need no brain magnet to tell you what's happening in the future, as long as it's just the next 22 minutes of the future and on the Science Channel. Because coming up on Brink, can walking power entire cities?